Hey guys, welcome to In the Great Wide. We want to tell you about the longest Amtrak route that we've taken, and it is one that will definitely test your patience.
It travels from Chicago to Seattle over the course of 46 hours, and it's called the Empire Builder.
Hey guys, I'm Phoebe.
And I'm Adam.
We're the couple behind In the Great Wide, and we did a month-long train trip across the United States and back, starting and ending in Los Angeles, using Amtrak's USA rail passes.
We'd spent a couple weeks on the East Coast, then time with family in Rockford on our way back west.
And the Empire Builder is the longest route that we took during the month-long trip. The total route from Chicago to Seattle takes just over 46 hours.
And it's 2 overnights on the train.
Yes. We left Chicago around 2:15 p.m., but I think they have since adjusted the schedule slightly, so it leaves around 3:05 p.m. now, I think.
Yeah.
And we were surprised we didn't actually need to check in at the station before boarding, because Chicago Union Station is a huge station. So we thought like, oh, we've got to get there early so that we can check in and stuff. And you still have to get there early so you can check your bags, but we didn't need to actually check in at the station for the train. They just scanned our tickets as we stepped onto the train.
Yeah. There were no assigned seats. And they didn't bother to help people sit together either, which wasn't really a problem because the train wasn't terribly busy.
Yeah, but just be aware that if you are traveling in coach with a companion, if it's a really busy day or something, if it's a packed train, make sure that you get there early just so that you can snag seats together.
Yeah. We sat on the north side of the train, but honestly, it didn't really matter because after you leave Chicago, you head north into Wisconsin and then cross northwest through the state. It was really lovely. It was really nice. Wisconsin's very beautiful.
Yeah.
That like 4 hours or so that
While
we
the
had.
sun was still up.
Not even 4, maybe like 3 hours.
It was a couple hours.
Was really pretty. You passed through the Wisconsin Dells, which was a big thing when I was growing up in the Midwest. You would go there for summering and all this stuff. It's really pretty up there.
Yeah.
And
we had a really beautiful sunset.
it was so pretty. It was one of the prettiest ones that we had during that month.
Yeah.
It was really, really nice.
For sure. But just be aware that with the adjusted schedule that Amtrak's running now and during the winter months, you'll only probably get around like 90 minutes of daylight after you get on the train as you are heading out of Chicago. The sun's probably going to be going down when you are around Milwaukee.
Yeah, which is not that far from Chicago.
Yeah. And there is an observation car on this train, so make sure you use it, especially for that sunset. Because once the sun goes down, you cannot see anything outside the train.
No, we reiterated this every time we do a video, and you literally can't see anything.
Yeah.
I know it seems like it's like, oh, of course it's dark, but because the way the train is set up, you literally can't see outside the train.
Yeah.
Overnight, you'll pass through La Crosse in Wisconsin, Minneapolis and St. Cloud in Minnesota, and Fargo and Grand Forks in North Dakota.
And then the next day, the sun will come up around like Devil's Lake in North Dakota. And that is the beginning of the longest day on a train.
And it's like we obviously did other days where we were on a train for the full day. The issue with the Empire Builder is that everywhere you look that first day is flat.
Yeah.
It's
just all day.
Nothing to see.
Yeah. And I want to be fair and say that the Great Plains can have their own beauty, for sure.
Sure.
But it gets boring after a couple hours, and then you have several more hours to go.
Yeah. It gets bad because, I mean, part of it is you want to see stuff, you want to do things. And it's not like it's all 100% like flat for the entire time. Most of North Dakota is flat. Very, very, very flat.
Which I was so surprised by.
Yeah.
Like, let me just throw this in here real quick. I thought it was going to be like mountains and beautiful, because everything I've seen of like Montana is just like this gorgeous wilderness.
Yeah.
And then, you have like Badlands National Park in South Dakota. And I thought like, North of there, it's got to be mountains, because I grew up in Oklahoma in the Great Plains. I did not realize how far north the Great Plains actually stretch.
They actually stretch all the way, because north of North Dakota is Calgary, Alberta in Canada, and that apparently, from friends I have that have lived there, have said that it's even worse. Like, it is so flat all the way north.
Great.
It is really surprising. Around lunchtime, you'll hit Montana, and they do call Montana Big Sky Country, and they do call it that because that's all you see is the sky. It is flat and then sky. Flat and sky, flat and sky, flat and sky. That's it.
Yeah, there are some cool valley views where like everything looks like tiny dioramas.
It was kind of cool. Maybe it was cool just because it was the first thing we saw in like 10 hours, but it was cool. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, there were a lot of cows, you know?
A lot of farmland. A lot of farmland. And God bless them. Like, we need them.
Yes.
We need farmland. We need the farmers to do their stuff. I just don't want to go through it ever again.
Yeah, this day, if you can't tell, was the most trying for us because not only were the views dull, but there are really few fresh air breaks on this route. And there's also no Wi-Fi.
Yeah. You're traveling over such a long distance. Amtrak is trying to do everything it can just to stay on schedule. So the breaks would normally be like 15 minutes. They end up being like 5. They just pull in and they go, well, 2 people are getting on or no one's getting on. So we are going to stop. And it's literally, they have their attendants just stay outside and like yell at you to be like, okay, we're going. Let's go.
Yeah. And I mean, I appreciate them trying to stay on schedule, but like, you need more fresh air because around 30 hours in on this train, I was like, I cannot do this. Like, I'm going to snap on somebody.
Yeah, it was not pleasant.
But to be fair, we got another beautiful sunset.
There were some cool like clouds and stuff. Like there was some stuff to look at, and it wasn't, but it's just the fact that it's the same for 12 hours. 13 hours of just the same.
Yeah. And we were really looking forward to seeing Glacier National Park because the train like skirts the national park in western Montana, but you pass by it at night and you cannot see anything.
It's like 9 o'clock at night, so you just barely miss it.
Yeah.
But the Glacier National Park is where the actual mountains start in Montana, which the state is named for being a mountain, and it's a lie. It's not. Until you get to that western part of Montana, then it actually is mountainous and stuff, but like a lot of Montana was very, very flat.
Which I was not prepared for.
Overnight, again, you pass through the rest of Montana, including West Glacier, Whitefish, and Libby, Sandpoint in Idaho, and Spokane and Leavenworth in Washington.
And in Spokane, the Empire Builder actually splits into 2 separate trains. So there's one train that goes to Seattle, but there's also an alternate route that you can take to Portland.
Yeah, so
it's an option.
It's kind of nice to know that you can get from Portland to Chicago or back.
Yeah.
It's nice to know that option is there.
Yeah.
The sun comes up again for the second time around Wenatchee in Montana. In Washington. Sorry, that's in Washington. And it's really funny because you wake up and suddenly there's beautiful mountains everywhere.
It's a different world. It feels like a different world.
It's like you went through a portal and you just came out of this weird flatness into these beautiful, like, forested mountains.
Yeah.
It was really pretty.
And it was foggy that morning, and, it was autumn, so some of the trees had turned colors, and it was gorgeous. It was both of our first times in the Pacific Northwest, and it did not disappoint.
No.
It is everything that everyone said that it is, and it was breathtaking.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was especially breathtaking because of the day that we had before on the train, but we were both like, yes, this is awesome.
This is what we signed up for.
Yeah.
Yeah. The route actually heads west all the way to Everett, Washington, and then heads south following the Puget Sound. I was going to say heads all the way to the coast, but it's not true because even though it feels like you're at the ocean, you're actually about 80 miles inland from the Pacific coast. It's because the Puget Sound is so big that it looks like you're looking at an ocean.
It was really pretty.
It was gorgeous, though. Yeah, absolutely gorgeous.
And you follow the Puget Sound for the last like 2 hours of the train ride that morning, so that was really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you get some really good views of the Space Needle too, like as you are actually coming into Seattle. So
Because
that was really cool.
Coming in north, the Space Needle is a little further north than like downtown Seattle, and as you're coming in, it's really cool. I mean, we were super excited about the Space Needle, and it didn't disappoint.
Yes. We were so happy to see Seattle after 46 hours on the train, and we arrived around like 10:30 in the morning. I think with the new schedule, it's like 11 something, but it'll be late morning anyway.
And we were obviously very tired. You spend 2 nights on a train, you're going to be tired. You don't sleep terribly well on a train, but make sure you get a neck pillow and eye masks because it helps. It definitely helps.
Yes.
Especially that neck pillow. Take our word for it. But the nice thing is that as soon as we showed up, we checked into our hostel and we had an excuse to try the local coffee. Because what do you do in Seattle? You get coffee.
Yes, you drink coffee and you eat seafood.
Yes.
Yep.
And you listen to grunge music.
But we'll be covering some of the stuff we did in Seattle in the coming weeks. So hit the subscribe button for those so you don't miss them.
We did do this 46-ish hour train ride in coach seats because we were using the Amtrak USA rail passes.
And the coach seats are pretty comfortable. They're not like on an airplane. There's only 2 on either side of the aisle, so there's no middle seat. And they're pretty cushy. They have plenty of leg room, especially if you're under 6 feet tall.
There's a leg rest, a foot rest, a tray table that comes down, plus an outlet under the huge windows.
And the seats do recline back pretty far as well, so you can put your carry-on bag under the leg rest when it's up for extra security while you're sleeping. But we didn't have any security issues on the train.
There is an open overhead shelf for small carry-on bags that you can put your stuff in as well.
The biggest problem that you have in coach, especially on these long train rides like this, is that there are no showers for coach passengers. There are for sleeper car passengers, but however, I have also heard from other travelers that it's only cold water, which does not sound pleasant.
No.
Yeah.
And also, those sleeper car options cost like 4 to 5 times what a coach seat would cost for a solo traveler, and about 3 times more for a couple than 2 coach seats.
Yeah, so it's a pretty big price hike.
Pretty steep increase.
And if you are using the USA Rail Passes, you cannot pay the difference to upgrade for that one leg. I did ask, and they said no. But the coach seats are fine. It's obviously not an ideal sleeping situation, but the cost difference to get into a sleeper car is just ridiculous.
Yeah, a room for the 2 of us on this leg alone would have cost $900.
Yeah, I would have been pissed if we had paid $900 to take this train route because it is not worth that.
No.
Absolutely not. But as far as food and drinks on the train, there's usually freshwater fountains in every coach car, but we discovered that our car on this train didn't have any, so we had to constantly go into the service area in the observation car to get water.
Yeah, make sure you bring a refillable water bottle.
Yeah.
It did help a little bit because we had to get up all the time, so you're at least walking around rather than just staring at the flat nothingness.
But we're going to make another video about packing for train travel, as well as another one about food and drinks on Amtrak trains. So hit the subscribe button so you don't miss those.
There is no Wi-Fi on this train.
Like we said, it's a little rough.
Yeah, just make sure that you have enough to do because you'll get bored very, very easily.
Yeah.
The Wi-Fi service through Amtrak is through cell service, and there's almost no cell service the entire route. It does follow some main roads, and you will occasionally get bars, but not enough to have the Wi-Fi and not enough to really do anything. You might be able to get like emails or something or text people, but like for the most part, there's just nothing.
Yeah, don't rely on your cell data thinking, oh, there's no Wi-Fi, that's fine, I have unlimited data. Like, you're not going to have a signal for a lot of it.
Yeah.
Because you're just out in the middle of nowhere.
If there really was a route that Amtrak needed to figure out Wi-Fi for, it would definitely be this one.
Yes, 100%. So would we do this train ride again? Probably not.
Yeah, there's just not enough views to warrant riding it again. I mean...
Yeah.
and using it as like a mode of transportation, you know, there's other ways to do it.
Yeah.
Like you can easily fly. I mean.
Yeah, and I've heard that taking the train the other direction from Seattle to Chicago, you get better views in western Montana, but according to the schedule that they have right now, you don't. It's all going to be in the dark still. So you would be in the same boat that we were.
Yeah, you leave Seattle at like 4:55 p.m. So like by the time you hit, just miss the Glacier National Park the other direction.
Yeah.
Because the sun will come up like an hour after you get past it, and then you just have planes and planes and planes forever.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, you miss all the incredible views on this route because they're in nighttime.
Yeah.
And you can get from Chicago to Seattle or back in, I think the flight is like around 5 hours.
Yeah.
And it'll set you back maybe $200. You know, it's maybe a little bit more expensive than the train ride, but it'll get you there so much faster.
You literally save a day and a half.
Yeah. So do yourself a favor, go that route.
Yeah.
The only way I think we would do this route again is if we were using the USA Rail Passes again and we needed to get between Seattle and Chicago because we did really enjoy both of those cities.
Yes. If you want more detailed information about this train ride to help you plan your own trip, head to the first link in the description to read our full blog article over on our website.
And while you're over there, sign up for our newsletter to follow along in all of our adventures.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the Great Wide somewhere.